Okay, so I really thought that Mel was really everything that she's always told me she was, but I don't know. I think she might be limping out because she knows she's my demo bottom tonight and she's going to get to feel this. So I think she's a little scared. I don't know. Maybe she'll come in, maybe she won't. I may have to do the show all by myself because I'm holding one of my favorite paddles. And I told her
I'm not going
this.
in there.
No, you see, did you hear that?
No.
See, you know, sometimes strong women can act a little weak. I don't know. But she knows if she comes in here that she has a demo bottom to it. So I can prove that I am truly Spanky, the man. Oh, wait a minute. Here she is. But she backed in, so you can see she backed in.
I put a pillow there. Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with real kinky people.
No.
It's
No. You can look, but you can't touch unless you want to feel. So I mean, that's the way this works. That's the way this works.
Let me see that thing. This thing has holes in it. Look at. Wee. Woo. That he wants to use on my butt. Ow! Fuck!
So you have to know how to use it first. So you can come to my class. I'll teach you how to use it, and you'll be okay.
Oh, woo.
That's how people get hurt when they use things they don't know what to do, how to do.
All right, let's compare the years that we've been doing this. How many years? Let me speak. This is Spanky. Woohoo! I'm so glad that we finally have him live in the studio, because the last time we did it, it was on via webcam.
Yeah, it was webcam.
And it was hysterical.
It was fun, but it was awkward because you were asking questions. I was asking the last one, and so we were talking over each other the whole time.
You were on laughing. Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did the Skype thing, which was really, really stupid.
But hey, I'm here now.
We learned.
Yeah, I'm here now.
So how long have you been into BDSM? Or how long have you been into, wait, let me clarify that. Let me be politically correct. Let me get spanking correct.
Okay.
How long have you been into spanking?
4 years.
So you have me beat. So here, I'm going to give you this back. I respect you. You know, I respect you, sir. So that's a long time to be spanking.
Yes.
So we're going to ask some of the same questions that we asked before, because I think the quality of the show is going to be much better than the other quality of the show. So what got you into spanking?
I saw an episode of Bonanza, and they had an episode. In fact, they had a few episodes where they were spanking that just caught my attention. I was like 10, 12 years old. And then I gave my first spanking when I was 12.
You gave your first spanking when you were 12? To who?
To the next door neighbor girl, which was really funny because we were just playing around and she was messing with me. And I told her, if you keep doing this, you might get spanked. So I did. And since then, I've kind of been locked in because nothing else kind of excited me the way that
did her parents find out you were spanking her?
Actually, her sister walked in on us.
Did she want one too?
No.
Was it an older sister?
It was an older sister, and we both ended up getting spanked.
Oh,
that's what started it. So it's been going, it's been going ever since then.
So it was a time when parents could actually spank their children.
Yes, and I grew up in, I'm a farm boy from Kansas. So if somebody was older than you and they were a relative or they were neighbors or things like that, whatever you got at home when you were at their place, you got the same thing. So all bets were off. So it was a lot of spanking.
A farm boy.
I'm a farm boy from Kansas.
Wow. When did you leave Kansas? Not Kansas, Kansas.
I left Kansas when I was 15 and moved to Colorado. And
your whole family moved?
Yeah.
You just didn't pack up and say...
No, I ran away from the spankings. That's what it was. No, we moved to Colorado. And I went to high school and college and did a bunch of stuff in Colorado. And that's how I found the scene itself. But yeah, for almost 40 years, almost 45 years, right? If I say when I first started understanding what spanking was like 15.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have a relationship after that didn't involve spanking, so keep doing it.
I'm going to ask him, can you have vanilla sex?
Yes, I can.
But why, right?
Well, I tell people this is like, I always played in the scene, but I dated them.
Uh-huh.
And even though my girlfriends were they were kind of vanilla swirly, you know. They had their own issue.
Vanilla swirly?
Yeah.
I like that.
So, yeah, I can date vanilla. It's not a big thing for me. As long as they understand I'm still going to do this stuff. They're good.
I like vanilla sex.
There's nothing wrong
I don't
with
see
it.
there's anything. I like the passion and the kissing and the caressing and the softness. And then, but when you actually climax, it gets a little bit of,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to, everything from that standpoint, you have to have some additive things that kind of make it better. So that's why I say vanilla swirl. A straight vanilla, I don't know. Straight vanilla, no, but they have a little bit of edge to them. I'm good. And like I said, as long as they let me play, I'm okay.
Well, I'm going to ask you the usual question. Okay. The usual questions.
Okay.
I think I asked him on the last show, but remember, I really didn't like the quality of that show. So we're gonna. I just, so ready for this?
Go.
Inquiring minds want to know, how big is your cock?
Let's see. Bigger than average, just a little smaller than BBC.
BBC? What's BBC?
Would be, I would say, from what I keep hearing, big black cock. So what I hear, basically, that means that it has to be like 12 or better. I'm like on the board.
No, that's not true. Not all.
That's in the fantasy part of it.
Yeah.
Not all.
I mean, I've seen some really huge cocks, but I've also seen really huge cocks on little skinny little white boys. Absolutely. And you look at them and you go, where did that come from?
Right.
Exactly. That's you can't tell by the size of the feet or the hands anymore. So you got big balls or little balls?
I have medium balls.
Oh.
They're like a mouthful.
A mouthful. So you don't have the ones that hang really low.
Yeah, no.
The teabagging type that just go, and you don't have the ones that are like almost up in, up in the.
No, they're not scared and going into turtle mode.
Cool. So
they're there.
Hang to the left or hang to the right?
Definitely the right.
Are you left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. See?
That's right. Forearms bigger on this side, baby.
Girth. You got girth.
Yes, I do.
So girth. This is what women like. They like.
Yeah.
Girth.
No. I got girth.
They got girth. Good
Absolutely.
girth. Good. Ever taken it in the butt? You can pass on anything.
I can pass on anything?
You can pass on anything that I say to you.
Anything I say, yes.
Okay. You can't get it that near me. You know the reason why?
Why is that?
I become a porpoise.
Well, it has to be a really pretty girl, and she has to have a really nice.
Yeah, really nice dildo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh,
she lost her train of thought just on that thought.
If you get me really drunk, I will do anything. I dance on tables, take my clothes off, and scream I'm horny. Anybody and anything can fuck me.
Okay, so all we need is alcohol.
Oh yeah, and I wake up the next morning like, what the fuck did I do? Yeah, that's just the way.
That's a good note. That's
just the way I roll.
So just make sure there's alcohol anywhere around you.
That's why I don't drink. I've made my mistakes. Hey, if you guys are in the chat room, so if you come into the chat room and ask a lot of questions, and tell your friends. I can't see how many people are watching because of the fact that, okay, I don't have a board guy still on my show. In fact, I think I'm enjoying this because I get to have my guests start the shows, which is kind of fun.
It was fun starting that way. Yeah,
and you never know what they're going to say.
No, and you know what? She still may get spanked tonight because my demo bottom was not able to show up. And it'd be really, really unsettling for me to talk about spanking and not get to, do it. So you guys should all just go ahead and come online and just, encourage.
Well, if we can get 200 people in the chat room, I will do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're watching the show and you're not in the chat room, please come in the chat room and also post it to all your friends and tell them Rev Mel is going to get a spanking by Spanky.
Everybody go on FET and do that now. Now, go on FET and tell everybody that Rev Mel will take my Spencer paddle on her ass.
I have to take that paddle?
Yes. Well, there's other things.
I got to take that big black motherfucker.
That's right. That's right. This big black motherfucker.
Big black motherfucker.
That's what she has to take. So go online, tell everybody that go on to FET and tell everybody that if 200 people come on, Rev Mel will take a spanking from Spanking.
And we mean in the chat room, not on the outskirts looking at.
Yeah, you got to come in the chat room. Come on.
Because I can't see, how many people are how many people are watching the show. I really can't see, and my iPad doesn't work too well with seeing how it. I can only see when you guys type. So unless you guys start typing, type in. So I took some of the clips from some of my past old shows, and I just put it up on YouTube, and it is the questions that I ask. So I have.
They're all good questions.
No, it's the how big is your cock question.
That's the one.
Oh, it's hysterical. I mean, to see all these men talking about their cocks, and I haven't even touched half of my stuff that I have on that.
That's funny.
I only put maybe like 7 or 8 or 10 clips. So that's just part one.
That's part one. So has anybody ever actually shown you how big their cock is?
Yeah, when we used to be able to do it on vocal, we could show nudity on vocal, and I had someone that had that was uncircumcised, and he showed it to me. I mean, I've never seen an uncircumcised dick in my entire life.
But you got to see one then.
Yeah, I didn't. Are you circumcised?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I didn't want to say uncircumcised. I'm sorry for uncircumcised. Just doesn't. I don't. It's like you could tie it in a knot there and roll it around. You know, you can go boing with it. I mean, it's just it just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, I never saw an uncircumcised until I went to college. And you're in the shower because I was a jock in school. And then the first guy I saw, I was like, what the f? Because everybody I knew was circumcised.
What sports did you play?
I played basketball.
Basketball.
Mm-hmm.
What was your major?
My major was theater and education.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I decided that teaching, I didn't have the patience for teaching. I did my intern year and figured, no, that's not for me. I need to go do something else.
So you became a mortician.
Yes, I did. Actually, I went into selling women's shoes, which was really fun. Yes. Because I got to play with women's legs all day long.
So do you have a foot fetish?
Oh, yes. I have a fetish about shoes. The right pair of shoes on a woman. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why he never takes another look at me. I'm always in boots, and I'm always just like, that's why.
No, I always take a look. I take a second and third look.
Second or third look? I'm just going to write blue. If you see me doing this, I'm not.
She's not ignoring you.
I'm not ignoring you. You are my guest. You are more important than anything. And it's not working. Okay, there it goes. Oops. I got to do this every once in a while so I can see what goes on in that chat room. There we go. There it goes. So, spanking, 15 years old. And in college, you did a lot of spanking?
Yes.
So were you known as the pervert?
Actually, I was just known as the guy that my thing, I either had all the best drugs and I did strange things. So, and it was the 70s, so it's like free love, and it was a great time. So a lot of sex, a lot of spanking.
What kind of drugs?
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
We had things like THC.
Yeah,
we had mescaline.
Mescaline. I did heroin for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did everything.
Yeah, mescaline. I mean, I went to a party. Somebody gave me mescaline, and they all circled around me and freaked me fucking out.
Yeah, because it's like.
Yeah, it's like
to have a good hit of mescaline or peyote. It was all good stuff. So that was my deal in college, and yeah, a lot of spanking, a lot of sex in college. That was my time. It was a fun time.
And that was in Colorado?
That was in Colorado.
Wow. Yeah, I was in Michigan during the 70s, and I was involved with the SDS movement.
Oh, okay.
If you've seen the whole thing about the Huron Papers, I knew a lot of those people. Yeah. And they're now running our country.
That's what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
all the druggies and all the sex freaks screw up with it to become senators and
they do.
Presidents.
They do. Yeah, they do.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So it was but it was this. But in 80, I mean, I got married in early, and then I had a daughter. So then I became a mother, and then I had to go to school and find some profession, and then I had to work, and so I missed out. But then the weekends I would go to clubs and dance all night long in Detroit?
That's what you did. And
Yeah.
I was telling people, because I've been talking about when I do the classes, I talk about I'm trying to become an outlier in spanking. So I'm trying to get to 10,000 spankings. So if anybody out there would like to help me get to 10,000, all you have to do is go on FedLife, look up Spanky, and I'll be glad to make you part of the numbers.
How many have you spanked?
I'm at 9,700 of spankings given, not different people, of spankings given.
Have you documented all this?
Yes, I sat down and I numbered each one. Actually, when I was going to do my first class,
Did you?
I was trying to think about how many spankings I'd given and over the years. So starting from the age of 20 and going forward. Because, in the 60s and the 70s, it wasn't uncommon for me to spank, have 3 or 4 partners a day to play. But only counted, it has to be at least an hour. I don't count it like the parties and all the other stuff. Because remember, I gave parties for almost 10 years. So a lot of spanking going on. So I'm trying again. 10,000 is my number. I'm at 9,700 now, a little bit. So I'd like to do it this year.
9,000.
If I can get to it this year.
Well, 9,700, of course you're going to get to it. You don't have that much to do.
No, I just need more partners. And we'll be good. Mel could be 9,701. That's my goal for tonight. So we need 2.
So is one smack equal a spanking?
What's that? No.
Oh!
No, it's like we would be going, I'd have to start before the show is over and you guys could see him get spanked off the show.
So I've seen you teach. You're a wonderful teacher.
Thank you.
Wonderful educator. And I've seen you do demos, and I
love doing it. I mean, it's the great thing about it is the most sensual, connected thing you can do without toys. The toys make it nice and interesting and it's fun, but all you really need is a pair of hands and you're really good to go.
But you got toys.
Oh, I have toys.
But spanking's only with your hands.
Yeah, no. I have toys now.
No, it's only spanking with your hands.
No. Spanking can be anything.
No, everything else is.
No. Spanking can be anything. You can have floggers and canes and crops and.
That's not spanking.
All depends on how you do it. But life doesn't always have to be about one thing.
Yeah.
The great thing about it is, over the years, that you evolve and you get into other things and you find. And I have found in the last 5 or 6 years, I've become much more of a sensual player because I watch people doing rope. And I watch the connectivity of people doing rope and figure out how can I make what I do more sensual.
Do you do rope and spanking?
I don't do rope. I don't have the attention span for rope.
Yeah.
I don't have the attention span for rope. So what I just borrowed for them was the connectivity and the touching and that. But everything else that I use, all the other toys that I've used, I try to pick up toys that I think I can use sensually.
Yeah.
And I kind of consider myself a sensual sadist.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my deal.
Well, you could take rope, lay somebody on a table and do, just that one basic thing, tie them to the table, but do them for on their tummy and their bottom is just really just there.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And then you can just.
I've seen that. But the time it takes me to tie a tie and get somebody in that position. And I'll tell you a story. Here's the thing. I was going to play with this.
Well, next time I see you play, we get a girl and we'll bring some rope and we will tie. I will tie her for you and you can have fun.
Okay. Because if somebody else does it, that's fine. Because my attention span won't go. But here, I'll tell you a story. I was going to go play with this girl, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, well, I'm going to be getting tied. And I think they'll tie me in a way that you can spank. So I said, okay, let's go do it. And she was going to be the only person I was going to play with that night. And after like 45 minutes of her getting tied and getting just right, and then when they brought me, she was just like in space.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I can't spank her like this. And then I asked her, I said, how long would it take you to get her out of that? By that time, the mood is gone. I'm going, okay, I'm done. So come back to me, let me spank you before the rope, and everything will be good. But I've seen ties that people can do that would be perfect position. Yeah. As long as somebody else does it for me, I'm good.
Well, I can understand because you can't negotiate. There's things that you can't do when somebody's in that state.
No, there's things you don't want to do. Because it's once somebody is in and I've subspace and seeing somebody that's really floating, when they don't have their full capacity,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to push that.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's not somebody that you know really, really well. And that's kind of my watching what the danger signs might be from that point on. So I want to get you there. I don't want to have you presented to me in that state. I want to get you there and then take care of you. And
have you ever been spanked?
Yes.
Do you get spanked often?
Not as often as I'd like to.
Can I see that little black paddle?
I would give it to her, but then she has to agree to take it. So again, 200 people in the chat room, and we'll both go ahead and go through it.
Oh, come on.
So that's kind of the deal, guys. So come on into the chat room.
Yeah, if you're watching the show and you're not in the chat room, get your butt in the chat room.
Absolutely.
And that's people. I mean, they sit there on the outskirts watching. I don't want my wife to see me. I don't know. I don't know why people do that.
It's the safest thing. 50 Shades of Grey is coming out, and everybody's going to be doing it.
What do you think about that?
You know what? I can't hate on 50 Shades of Grey. As a writer, I just can't. It's a poorly written book, but she did something that a lot of us have not been able to do.
Marketing.
Right. So I can't hate on what she's been able to do. And I also think that it's opening the door for people who have been sitting back and were still afraid of the stigma. That they can say, I went to the movie, I saw 50 Shades of Grey, it's not so bad, maybe I'll go check it out. Then it's our responsibility when they start showing up to let them see the reality of it.
True.
But I think it's kind of like the internet when it first started became the best thing, the worst thing for the community.
AOL.
Yeah, because it brought all these people in with, you didn't know where they were coming from. And it became this great thing because it could connect people. And it was a bad thing because it connected people. 50 Shades of Grey will have a little bit of that same effect. But I think now the community is better prepared to handle the people that are coming in and to teach and to guide people that are coming in and give them what the real deal is.
So before the internet, how did you get people to spank? Where did you go to spank people?
Well, before the internet, it was papers like, I think here's LA Weekly. And in Colorado was a thing called The Oyster. And you would go on, and even in the regular papers, you would see these little ads that say, I'm looking for a spanking or whatever, I want to be tied or something like that. And that's the way you found them.
So you had to.
So you would call because you could put your number on there and the whole thing, and they had a number that you could call into that you didn't have to give up your whole phone number.
Oh, wow.
But that's how you found people. And then people started doing things like events. There was a group in Colorado called People Exchanging Power Pep. And that was the first meeting I went to. And I went to that meeting and walked in and went, no, these are not people I would do anything with, because it was really kind of what you thought would be there. And then I went back for a second time and met some real people. And through that, like regular events, there were no play parties or anything that were going on, but just regular events and meeting people and talking about it. And then when I moved to California, it was just getting out in the community and seeing what's out there. And fortunately, here, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of places you can go.
Oh, yeah.
And find something and find information. And then the internet just kind of brought it all together. But
so when did you move to California?
I moved here in 96. I moved here in 96. And when I first moved here, I wasn't here a lot because I was traveling most of the time.
So shoes?
Yeah, as much as possible.
I love it.
No, I was actually tour managing a band. So we traveled everywhere. And I would get dates that way because, AOL and chat rooms and forums and things like that. So what I would do in the forums, I would put up a list of cities where I was going. And I would try to get people to meet in every city that we were playing in. And it worked out pretty good because I usually ended up getting about 70% of the cities that we go to, I'd find somebody to play with. And sometimes it would end up being, we always had what we call runners. And they were always girls, and they were always there to go get you whatever you needed. Whatever the band needed, whatever you needed. And they were like really fun to play with. So it was nice.
They weren't groupies though, right?
No, they weren't groupies. They weren't groupies. They were runners. They were girls who were trying to get in the industry, so they would do whatever they had to do to get there. And I don't mean like we abused them. It was just they would literally come and work for next to nothing just so that they could network.
So they would go get food or water.
Yeah, food or equipment or things like
or,
that. Yeah.
If they needed another mic, or battery, go get it. Yeah. So.
And then you could play with them a little bit and say, if you're not back here in a certain amount of time, they have to spank you.
We can't do that anymore.
And there were a lot of times where they would
Yeah.
take their time.
And we can't do that anymore, employees.
No, you can.
They would say that
They
it was
can't.
harassment.
They can't.
In
That's
fact,
what we're saying.
I corrected myself yesterday. I'm allowing one of the people in the building to park. I've got 2 spaces,
Right.
allowing them to put their bikes up underneath one of the spaces. And the little boy, he's just a little kid, and he said to me, he goes, well, if I see that your car's dusty, he says, I'm going to write clean me. I says, yeah, and I'll give you a spanking. And then I shut my door, because I was getting out. I shut my door, and I realized, and his mother was there.
Right.
And she's like, oh, and I realized, that's not. And I turned and I looked. I says, no, I'm going to take that back. So I walked backwards, acting like I was walking backwards. And I said, if you do that, I says, I'm taking all that back. I says, if you do that, I says, I'm going to tell your mother.
There you go. And your mother will go, don't ever do that again. And
yeah,
and not do anything to you.
Yeah, and so and then you'll do it again because you don't learn.
Right.
Were you ever spanked as a child?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We had to get, and it wasn't. Well, we called them whoopings. Because that's what it was.
Go, boy, get here! I'm going to give you a whooping.
That was it. It was like we had this big willow tree in our yard.
Oh, the weeping
willow
tree.
Yes. We used to have to go out, and it's in our front lawn. So if everybody was there, they knew what you were going. If they saw you out there taking limbs off, they knew something was about to happen. So I had to get 3 and then wrap them around, and that's what you would get. Get whooped with.
Whipped you with 3 of them?
Yes.
That's hurts.
It did. It did. So it's like, so from that standpoint, from spanking from that standpoint, hate. But spanking from the other side, okay, not so bad. Once it's somebody else, if it's not your family, it can be very difficult.
Yeah.
But it was in your family.
Oh yeah.
With bad intentions, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I've never had a spanking, but I had a belt once.
Yeah.
My mother was a maniac, and I didn't come home early enough to wash the dishes.
Right.
And my mother had a fit, and I'm in the bedroom because, and I said, I'll do it later. And I was out with my friends. I mean, what the fuck? And I was only probably about 10 years old or 9, or I don't know how old I was. And my mother pushed him. He charged into my bedroom, and I realized he was coming at me. And us kids, we took off the doorknobs off the doors,
Right.
And I slammed it thinking that it's going to shut because there's no doorknob. And guess what? It didn't. It popped back open. My dad's standing there for the only time he ever hit me with a belt. And I had welts. And he went into the living room and bawled his eyes out.
Wow.
Because he never, ever touched me. He never hit me. And my mother just pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah, I never saw that part of it. It was always, there you go. So lesson learned. I'll be back and do it again. So, I mean, it's a different day now. You can't really touch your kids, and you can't really do anything. And I don't advocate spanking kids if you don't know what you're doing and you do it out of anger, which most people did. Mm-hmm. So save it till people are adults when we like it and we want it.
Yeah, I spanked my daughter when she was little. I spanked her. Yeah, I mean, I'm a terrible mother, but she's excellent. She's turned up fabulous.
Right.
And my stepkids who have never been spanked, they're
a situation.
Holy mess.
And it's funny because there's when you think about the number of people that come into the scene and that are saying they were never spanked growing up, but somehow they had this thing in their head from when they were really young that they really wanted to do that. So we're seeing a lot of people now, they weren't spanked growing up, and now they're making up for it.
Yeah, I was never spanked as a child except that one time. My mother, she was kind of, she would pick up anything, an iron, my guitar.
See, that was,
and swing it at me,
I was just said, parents were very creative back then. So anything would work. Anything would work. It's just like whatever's close, that will work. And I think that's why it's like we have what we call pervertibles. So no matter where I go, I'm always thinking I can use that. I can use that. It's like spatulas and wooden spoons. Mm-hmm. And I was in Sur La Table, I think that's what it's called, right? The store over. Mm-hmm. They sell all this really, really great kitchen implements and things. And I found 2 spatulas. One was a smiley face, another looked like a guitar. And I'm standing in line, I'm just kind of doing this on my leg. And the girl behind the counter is just like, you could tell she was going, what's he doing? Because I was sitting there with a smile on my face and I'm just tapping it and I'm going, okay. So you find those things.
Maybe she thought you were hitting your cock.
She might have. It was, it goes a little in. So I could have been doing that. It would have been okay. But yeah, I mean, you walk in, anything can be used. And I like finding things that you go, that might be really cool.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite little sensation toys is a back scratcher that I bought at 7-Eleven for $3.99. And it has, it's extendable little thing. But it has a really cool thing because it's almost like a Wartenberg wheel.
Yeah.
So you can drag it along. After you spank somebody's butt, you just drag it along.
But you went to 99-cent store, they have the little balls that had the little stick on them for you could hit your back, massage your back. I wish I would have kept mine.
See, all of those things.
Yeah.
That's where I found my first canes. When I decided I was going to start using canes, the 99 cents, where you're selling these bundles of bamboo.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be for deck, you put them in the urns. And I went, okay, so that's what I'll buy. Because if I break them, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm just learning. But if I break a $40 or $50 cane, I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't like breaking toys.
Yeah.
I hear all of these people and they go, I broke my toy on this girl. I'm going, so now you got to replace it. And it ain't cheap. So now you got to spend another $50, $60 to replace it. And you have a great experience that you broke this thing on somebody's butt. So I've never broken a toy on anybody, but I've had 2 broken on me. And one was like my favorite hairbrush that I'd had. It was a really great hairbrush. And somebody was using it on me and broke it.
Wow. Yeah, I've got an interesting hairbrush. It's grapes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really painful. So but it's not in my toy bag. I don't use it. It's on my dresser.
So hey, if every 200 people in the chat room, then maybe Mel will bring that out, and I'll get to use that on her, and it'll be her own. That would make it even more interesting. I
want to find out how many people are watching the show. I can't see. It's really hard. It's hard for me not to be in control. I mean, the chat room is quiet. Come on, you guys. I mean, this is like bugging me. Maybe they don't want to see me spanked.
Come on, guys.
They don't want to see my butt up in the air.
Think about this. I've never even seen Mel play, so I don't know. Can she take a spanking, guys? I don't know. We should find out. Can Mel take a spanking? Can Rev Mel take a spanking? Because I heard she gives, but I've never seen it. So 200 people, come on, guys, in the room. Come in, just type a little bit, spank Rev Mel.
Well, I will share something with you. A friend of mine named Wolf, he came into the Lear, he met a young mistress, and they started a relationship. And then he watched me play. He didn't really know me.
Right.
He just came to my class once. He didn't know me. And he goes, after watching me play, he goes, "Mistress, don't ever let me play with her." Okay. So then we all became friends. And then she pulled her back out. And then I started to play with him. And then I realized that that we were kind of, chemistry was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good to do to somebody. So I went to both of them privately.
Right.
And I said to him, "I can't play with you." And then I went to her and said, I can't play with him. And I don't want to hurt your relationship. I'm going to walk. I'm your friend, but that's it. I mean, I never go after anybody's property.
Right.
I never flirt with anybody that is owned or anyone. Right. If I have a friend that's interested in somebody, I will never cock block them.
But have you ever had that experience where somebody that you know that if you play with that person, you're kind of done? I had that experience like with Mrs. Melissa. I could never play with Mrs. Melissa because I would just be gone. It was just like, because she's the first person I watched.
Yeah.
That I said flogging can be great.
Oh yeah.
Because I watched her play. But
well, she also adds that sensuality and that primal stuff to it.
Yeah.
And the things that she does, I mean, because she was in the martial arts,
mm-hmm.
so she knows where to put her knees, she knows what to do, and the way she growls and the way she holds,
So yeah, I can never play with Mrs. Melissa.
Yeah, she's hurt her back.
Yeah, I know she's kind of retired, which is too bad because she's a really, really great person.
Yeah.
But you run into things. I think the great thing about the community is that you run into people all the time that are so interesting that if you just talk to them, you'll find that it doesn't always have to be about the play.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes it's just good to go hang out and learn a little bit. And that's why I like the classes like your class, when it's just come and learn something about what this is. And I think so many people get into it and they look at it like it's this great big open play yard and I can play with everybody and not know a damn thing about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And when I watch classes and I watch people that are really interested in going to classes and watch the people that really, really want to learn, that to me is the greatest thing about this, is that the community is about teaching as much as it is about playing.
Well, we're really fortunate because we have so many clubs and
Yes.
munches. I mean, there are places that don't have any of this.
Yeah.
And that's why we do TSR Network. We do it because they're out of state. I mean, most of the people that watch our shows are not local people. They're not in California,
Mm-hmm.
Locally in Los Angeles. They are in other cities. They tell other people about it. Then they send them links, and then people go to the links. And our archive shows are really successful. And to me, that's more important because it stays forever and it's education. I mean, what would you tell somebody that is just starting out with spanking? What would you say to them?
I would tell them, don't be in a rush to go out and spend a bunch of money. That start with the very basics thing. Your hands are really, really easy to use. But I would tell them, start going to munches, start going to classes. And from a spanking standpoint, start with just the hand, because all your sensations and everything that you're getting, you get that through your hand. And you can really determine how much you're doing, how you're hitting, and all the other things if you start with your hands.
But is there a certain way to use your hands? I mean,
yes.
Because one time I spanked a friend of mine, and it was a joke. I said I could spank, and he was a submissive, and a good friend. And I said, I'll spank you 100 times we were at a straight party.
Right.
And everybody got the biggest kick out of it. The next morning, my hands are swollen. They were 3 times bigger. I could barely move them.
When I hear stories about people like they hurt their hand or they hurt their wrist, or I heard somebody say that they actually split their palm open. I've never had that happen, so I don't know that. But the truth of the matter is that I try to use my wrist a lot and try not to strike as firm where everything is going, because if you're hitting down like this, that travels. So if you just do like that, see how that happened? It's just not going to embrace it all. But if you hit like this, you feel that, and it goes all the way up here.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I tell people that just the wrist and the hand, you can protect yourself that way. Cupping, so that all the impact, and for the person you're spanking, they're not getting that hard rush of impact because everything's being absorbed in here.
Yeah.
So for me, when you're using the hands, you can use different parts. Like I use my fingers a lot. Just this.
Yeah.
I even got it down there. Like I was doing this the other day, and it really worked out great. Because I was just using the 2 fingers. And you can get into some really cool places with just your fingers.
So do you there is thuddy and then there's stingy.
The more you go flat, that's going to be thuddy.
Yeah.
Glancing, down like this, is really stingy. The more fingers you use, the stingier it is.
Yeah.
So when people are just going straight on like this, that's going to be thuddy.
Yeah.
And if you hit like with this part of your hand, so if you're just with your palm, so if you're striking with your palm, that's thuddy.
Yeah.
And people like that, or punching.
Yeah.
People like that.
I like punching.
And then I started doing some, and here's something like we all do. We always think we have these things that nobody else is doing. I'm really cool with this. So I started doing a splat like this.
Backwards.
And just the knuckles, it's almost like punching.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen anybody do it. I think I got this great thing I'm doing, and I'm showing people, here's what you can really do. So the other day, I'm watching a video, because I do like spanking videos. And I'm watching a video, and I see this guy going. And I go, now I have to tell people that there are people that do this. I don't know where he got it from. I think he might have been to a class or something.
So,
but
I know we think we invent things.
Yeah, we think that we come up with all these things. But the great thing about hands is that they can be multi-uses.
Yeah.
So I like when somebody says they thought I was using different implements or they were using different things when I'm just using my hands.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find, when I first started, that's all I have is my hands. So I wanted to find different ways to get different sensations and to make it interesting for the person I was playing with. Yeah. Because just this over and over and over again, nobody wants to go through that. I don't want to do it like that. Your bottom doesn't want to do it. So I started coming up with things that I thought would just kind of be fun to do. And fortunately, the women I was playing with would go, not so much. Yeah. They would let you know. And don't be afraid, guys, if you're doing things, and to ask, how's that feel?
Or girls.
To ask, how does that feel?
Yeah.
Because there's somebody they should give you good feedback.
Yeah.
And I want to hear that okay, that wasn't so hot.
Yeah.
So then I'll stop doing it. Or something that you're doing with somebody may work really well for somebody else. It doesn't work for somebody on the opposite side, which is the other good thing about it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you another story about how I thought I was really kind of king of what I do.
And I'm stingy. I do
Yeah.
my hands.
Women
stingy.
tend to be more stingy.
Yeah, women look at
Because
me
their
like,
hands are smaller.
yeah, and they look at me like, oh yeah, you can spank me. You're not
Yeah.
gonna hurt me.
And
And then I do one time, and they go, ow.
Well, the other thing too is because the smaller hand, smaller area. Bigger hand spreading the impact over. The smaller hand, that's all going in the same spot. That's like it really hurts. But I'm at a party, and I had talked to this girl a couple of times, a younger girl, she's like 24, 25 years old. And we got a chance to play.
I'm listening to him. I'm just
So,
oh my God, we've gone. Wow, this is. Go ahead. We can.
Okay.
This is fun. We can go as long as we want. We'll just sit and chat.
okay, sounds good. So,
You guys in the chat room, forget about it, you guys.
so we finally get a chance to play.
Mm-hmm.
We're at BOD one night, and I'm like, okay, so yeah, we can play. So I'm playing, and I'm thinking, spanking, man, I'm giving this girl a spanking, and she's like, kind of writhing a little bit and going. I'm going, yeah, this is going really, really good, right? So when we get done, she goes, do you mind if I say something? And I go, sure. And she goes, you're really right hand dominant. And it was the first time I'd heard that. And I go, well, what do you mean? She goes, my right cheek really hurts and my left cheek like almost nothing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going, well, okay.
You gotta equal that out.
Yeah, and I'm going, okay, well, little young kid, I've been doing this as long as you've been alive. You have your say. Good for you. And then I thought about it. And I said, you know what? She was right. She was really right. So sometimes you get taken down a peg when you think that you know everything. Somebody will come up with something and go, bring you back down a little bit. So that's when I figured, okay, so different techniques and different things that you have to do and different positioning. Because I'm used to somebody over my lap,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to somebody like bending over or
No.
something like. She was almost there. She was almost there. I missed that opportunity because I just wanted to say
Then you
something.
get the
real quick.
T-shirt. I spanked Rev
Right.
Mel.
Exactly. I will make that T-shirt. Too. I will definitely make that T-shirt. But
Has to be black.
it's gotta be black. It's gotta be black. 'Cause
And
black is
oversized because I kind of like them big.
nothing wrong with big and
You
black.
like men, I like them big.
Nothing wrong with big and black.
black.
That's why I have this.
The big black motherfucker.
But I just think that people should be creative with what they're doing. And the hands are really, you can do a lot of things with your hands.
Yes.
And I think that was like when I first started to become known about being a spanker, is that because I didn't have a lot of stuff.
And we will be showing this.
Yeah.
We're going to go a little bit later, so if you got time.
I didn't have
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just had my hands, and occasionally I had a hairbrush or a wooden spoon or something. But it's just my hands.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to give you a hand spanking, I want you to feel different sensations. So how do you do that? So you learn little things like just using your fingers, your fingertips,
Yeah.
or just doing like this.
Yeah.
That's getting really into the muscles, and people would always ask, why did I feel that later? Because I was doing something that was getting
Or
into the
doing
muscle.
pressure points
Right.
after you've spanked. You do
Exactly.
pressure, scratching, grabbing.
Anything.
I love a red butt. I love to grab and just go, and they scream
Right.
because it's so sensitive.
Well, I found something the other day. So I like, and then you find other things you can do, like gloves and things
Mhm.
like that. And I found something that was really cool the other night, and I just tried it on a young lady who was actually my spanking muse. I love her to death. I love playing with her. The vampire gloves
Mm-hmm.
and then vibrating fingers.
Ooh.
So I found this great vibrating fingers, just fits on the two. And I just said, well, I wonder what this is going to feel like if I put these over vampire gloves. Really cool. So come to the class. I'll show you guys how to do it.
Yeah, he's going to be teaching at the Lear Assad coming up this Friday.
This Friday, 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, so you can come and learn how to give your significant other a really nice Valentine's spanking. Because we're going to be talking about the art of sensual spanking.
And we are the real 50 Shades of Grey.
We are. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the real thing, because this isn't fantasy. This isn't what if. This is all the real deal.
I mean, it's not just 20 minutes of sex. I'm
Yeah, no. No, it's 2 hours of spanking and then 2 hours of, fucking into whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, and aftercare.
Yeah.
Can't beat aftercare.
Aftercare is the greatest thing.
So let's see your toy. We're going to take these down, and put them aside. So we're gonna look at some of his toys. He only has a couple toys, just a couple.
Just a couple. By the way, I have this great bag that was made by a beautiful lady by the name of Azrael.
Oh, how can we do this? Oh, this bag is extraordinary.
But it really fits. I don't know if you can see because we're going out this way.
Oh, and is this?
So Spanky the man. So it's got my initials on it.
Oh wow, this is amazing.
But it's got room for my floggers, my brushes.
And this is all like material on the inside.
Yeah.
Now. Wow.
So it's a really good thing because it does hold everything. And as a spanker, I have found you can have a lot of really cool things. This, as a matter of fact, this is my favorite belt. This is Turk. Turk used to have his own FetLife page.
Let me see if I can hold it up closer.
Yeah.
Can you guys see that? See, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
This is my favorite belt because it's nice and supple and he's been used a lot. So, but Turk used to have his own FetLife page at one point. But you have things that you can use now. Like I said, we've got all kinds of canes. This is another really good thing. It's a latex paddle, and it feels really, really
This
good.
is latex?
Yeah.
So if people are allergic to latex, they would break.
Yeah. So I want to ask if somebody is allergic to latex
That's
before
cool.
I use it.
And you can leave the marks on
Yep.
it?
Absolutely. And, we have things like I have canes and tosses and beautiful floggers. Like, I love this flogger. This is like my favorite flogger.
Oh, I like the handle on this. Let's see.
Yeah, this is a good one. And it's made by a guy that's actually in the community. His name is Cal Utica. You
Whee!
can find him on FetLife.
Mine. No,
But that's-
just joking.
You can have it if I can use it on you. It's really
Oh,
good.
no. You know what? What did you just say? I could have it if you
If I can use it on you, sure.
Oh, but you want a long scene, not just a couple hits.
Yeah, no, it would have to.
Oh.
It would have to be a long thing.
Ooh, what is this?
This is hairbrushes are really good.
Is this Eleanor?
I can name it that. I usually name a lot of stuff, but this hairbrush is really, really nice because it's ergonomically done, so it fits in the hand just right, and it has a nice sound. And then when you can get a little sensation play with the other side of it.
Yeah, this is nice, but it works on both right and left-handed.
So it doesn't matter whichever hand you're using, you're really good with that. See? And during the aftercare,
My DNA might be in there. He
Yeah.
might get robbed.
but this is really good because after you've just administered a really good spanking, you can just be really nice to them afterwards.
That is extraordinary. This is
Yeah.
nice.
This is a nice little leather toss
Wow.
and a split tail. So when you hit with that, it kind of grabs a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is really
It's
nice.
very stingy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very stingy. Hard to get thud out of this. However, there are other nice little mean toys like the slappers. These are really good. I really suggest these because they have a good feel and they can be thuddy and stingy all at once.
This is a nice one because sometimes they're too flimsy
Right.
and they feel weird when you hit them. And
This has good weight.
This has
this has
really
good weight.
good weight to it. See, this is awesome.
So you've got that. I love these floggers. These are made by a guy by the name of Count Boogie. Everybody knows who he is.
I loved him.
And these are actually blacklight. So if you have a blacklight, these will actually show.
Speaking of Count Boogie, he is going to be posting an event. He's going to be producing one of his videos. So he's looking for people to be in it. So if you go on FetLife, go to Count Boogie and look and see what he has posted and become one of his actors.
So, I have a lot of different things that I didn't used to have, but now I can't think of not having them in my bag now.
This is nice. This one's nice.
This one is really nice.
Oh, this is a really nice one.
And then again, that's a slapper. And it's the great thing about it, it's a little lighter, but it's still well enough made that it's going to stand up and it's going to.
Oh yeah, this is beautiful.
You can use it for a while.
This is an awesome piece. And this one is I've not seen them that thin.
Okay. Yeah, the Lexan paddles are mean.
Oh yeah.
They are really mean.
These are what?
Lexan.
That's material?
So it's like a form of plastic.
But is it a really strong plastic?
Yes.
Will this break?
No.
Wow. I have a paddle that is made out of the stuff that you put on countertops.
Yeah.
And it is white. It is heavy. I mean, it will never break. This is awesome.
But this is a nice one. And this is one that you just, when I first got this was really kind of like a mind fuck because everybody hates flexing. When you find somebody that loves it, it can be really, really cool.
I have one that's kind of long, but it's plexiglass, and it says Talking Sex Radio on it.
There you go.
I love these. I love these. I love these.
So those are all good. And then, different types of canes. These are also, this is a nice over the knee cane. That's why I like this one.
It's
because
short.
you can use it with someone over your lap.
Yeah, this is really short.
Yeah. And it's got a nice
She
feel.
knows how to use it.
See? But can she take it?
Yeah, I can.
Well, there you go. We should find out.
I submitted to my ex-submissive, and he did a scene with me from 6 o'clock in the evening to 4 o'clock in the morning. I now know where submissives go. That
And
subspace is.
Oh, yeah. It's a good place to be.
Mhm.
Now, this one is really, I had somebody tell me the other day that they hated and liked it because it was annoying. Because you're only hitting with this part.
Oh, that's weird. Oh my God. You gotta understand something. This is free. Ow, and it hurts.
And when you're using it and you're just kind of like, it's really good to hit the nipples with. But she said she liked it, but it was annoying.
Annoying.
And that's why I kept doing it.
Tell her to stop complaining.
That's why I didn't stop. Because it was annoying. Good. That's good for me. Because I like annoying people. But yeah, a lot of different things that you have.
I'm just pulling
Go ahead.
things out. This is nice. I like this because it's not really super wide.
Right.
It fits good in the hand.
Now, the thing is, with something that is thin like this stings like crazy and is study at the same time. But because it's narrow, it's not spreading the impact out. That's another lecture one. That's really kind of mean.
I like this because I like that they're small and petite.
Yeah. So you can use these and you get a lot of impact with them and people hate you afterwards, but that's why we do it. And then this is how I've gotten into canes. So this little loopy cane is nice. And that one's good because you can use it over the knee. So there's two different sizes.
And where did you get these ones?
These are made by Rope Daddy.
Are these Rope Daddies?
These are Rope Daddies.
He does a good job on them.
Yeah, I became a really good customer of his, I think.
Yeah.
I think I paid a car note for him.
Yeah.
But
A car note. That's cute.
But yeah, these, and like I said, the guy, Cal Utica, who makes this particular piece, and then, oh, I love straps. Straps are so cool. And the great thing about that one is like this side is really thuddy, and this side stings a little bit, depending on how you use it. But it's
awesome.
nice.
It's awesome.
And then this one is really nice because you can just carry this anywhere because it's just right side, fits in the pocket, and it has a really, really good weight.
Is it legal to carry one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
it's
could be a
legal.
fungu.
You can do it. I'm not going to try it at the airport, but it's legal.
Well, there's nothing in it that is plastic, so it might work at an airport.
Oh, it would go right through.
It would go right through.
It would go right through.
Yeah.
I've had stuff in my bag at times and gone through TSA.
Yeah.
And then had people look at me as I was walking through, because you could always see them kind of waiting and going, "What is that?" when they're looking at it, and then they just shrug their shoulders and let it go through. But yeah, in fact, the last time I went to Vegas for the CES convention, that happened.
Oh, that's that one.
Yeah. And then you have to have crops.
Yeah.
Because you can't not have crops.
Yeah. I've got one that's a heart.
Yeah. These are both really, really good ones. I really like these. These are brand new for me.
So I like that this is all included in spanking, because I don't think a lot of people realize that you can have both of them. You don't have to have. I'm just looking.
No, you can have a lot of different things.
Nosy.
Because the great thing is it's an experience. And I like to play for a long time. So if somebody's going to play with me, we're going to go through my bag. And this isn't everything. So I've got like 2 bags that I take out. But I like working my way through the bag. I like spending a lot of time playing. But if you're going to do that, You want them to have different sensations,
Yeah.
and you want them to have different feels. And I like the aspect of playing with somebody, and we can be really intense, or we can crack up. We can do a lot of things depending on what you're using. So I like now to have a lot of variety in terms of what I use, but I like things that are well made.
Yeah.
And because trust me, not only will you like it, your bottom will like it too.
And look at my hand, feel how warm
See?
it is.
See?
I'm just hitting.
Yes.
So your belt is your favorite.
Yes.
And what is your least favorite?
My least favorite I actually gave away. I had a tire tread strap
Mm-hmm.
that we used to call Mr. Goodyear,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody hated it. And the funny thing about it was, I played with a lot of vanilla women, and it was a vanilla girl that loved it. And she was like that big, but she loved it.
Oh, wow.
But there's also a young lady who is a good friend of mine, and she liked it, loved it, and she just like having a use on her. So I actually gifted it to her and said, "You can have it." But that was like my real mindfuck piece.
So do I get a gift?
Do you get a gift? Yes, I told you. I will give you whatever you take. You guys heard me. I said whatever.
Oh, it's time. Is it time? Hey, Justin, welcome to the show. Nice to see you in there. I don't want to get spanked, and he keeps wanting to spank me.
How could I not be on the show and not at least demonstrate it?
So Justin, tell everybody, tell people to watch the show, and I'm going to spank it if there's a certain amount of people.
Absolutely.
In the chat room. So we were having a really, we're going to leave these here because I kind of like this here. Justin makes absolutely amazing toys. I don't know if you've seen his toys. He does a lot of like alligator stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with the bone in it and everything else.
I'd like to meet.
He's here in Los Angeles now. So, and he does come to the lair, and he also is an auctioneer. He was an auctioneer over at Sanctuary. He did their auction the last couple of times. So he's awesome with that. So we were talking about the parties. We were talking about how starting the parties, where it's gone.
Right.
And, let's go back to that conversation. Okay. So you started doing the spanking parties.
I started doing spanking parties back in 2005. Mm-hmm. And the reason I started doing it was because I wasn't making headway in the spanking community. Mm-hmm. And the parties were typically private, and if you didn't know anybody, you couldn't get invited. I did run into a group out of San Diego that were being open because most of the parties were closed, but it still wasn't, I still didn't feel like I was getting enough. Uh-huh. So, and there were a lot of people that I was meeting like me, and because I had a Yahoo chat room that I was running, and people were saying, we're not finding the ways to do it. So I said, I'll give a party. And I had never thrown a party before. I wasn't thinking, although in college I used to throw parties. I was known for my parties. So I figured, spanking party, let's do it. So the first one that I gave, I actually did, it was in Long Beach. At a Holiday Inn. And the funniest thing about it was...
So you did it in one of their big event areas?
No, I got a hotel room, a suite, with an adjoining room.
Oh, wow.
And it was at the whole end of the hall. As I said, I need, like at the end, do you have something like that? I said, yeah, we can do that. But it was really tough because they said that actually is the last room we have because there was a convention going on. So I gave my first party then. We had like maybe 20, 25 people show up.
So paid for the room.
Really good, yeah.
You paid for the room.
And everybody, it's a kick in $5, I would pay for the room. If somebody wants the room at the end of the night that drove down from somewhere, they can have it. But I started doing the parties because there were a lot of single people that were trying to find their way in the scene. And there were a lot of people in the spanking community couldn't find places to go play other than the national parties, which are expensive to do. So I started out, it was every month. And we started doing it at the Holiday Inn in Burbank. And I stopped for a while when I was traveling because I was really traveling probably 20, 30 days out of the month. But what I liked about the parties is that it brought people together. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of couples and a lot of people in the scene now because they started coming to those parties. For the last 5 years, we were giving them at the Lair. The Hollywood Spanking Group, I'll give them a shout out because that was my baby. I started it, and they still give parties there. But the great thing about it, it gives people a chance to go and interact.
It's like a sampler in BDSM.
Because you can go and you can learn. Because one of the things for my parties was that we didn't just start spanking. It was, we came in, we had icebreakers, and it would usually be somebody would talk about how to use implements. Yeah. Or talk about the mindset of how you play and who you play with and those kind of things. So it's as much educational as anything else. And we always encourage new people to come. So we always would have, if we had 50 or 60 people show up, there would be maybe 20 people who were brand new. So learning about it. But the other thing that it did, because we didn't have a lot of people from the spanking community, which always kind of perplexed me, that the spanking community itself didn't support the parties as much as I would have liked them to. But the BDSM players came. And what I saw happening was all of my preconceived ideas about what the BDSM community was and all their preconceived ideas of what they thought spanking was changed. Yeah. And we saw a lot of walls breaking down. That's why we were really probably the first spanking party, centric party, that said you can bring your floggers, you can bring your canes, you can do rope. The only thing that we said we didn't want to have is single tails and whips, because we have a lot of new people who don't understand about space. Yeah. And we could walk into all those kind of things. But we opened it up to say that spanking is really just impact play, because spankers now spank in a lot of different areas than just the ass.
You had huge turnouts.
I mean,
there were so many people that were so involved in and you did like cookie time or cupcakes.
My thing about parties is that
I mean everybody contributed.
Yeah, anybody can throw a party. But we always had themes and we always had reasons. And the first party that we gave, so I started doing them in my house.
Art Miller's in the chat room. I have to do this for him.
No problem.
Art Miller. Art Miller. Ooh, Art Miller. You want to do an Art Miller?
Art, how would you like to hear her go, ooh, Art, as she's getting hit with the paddle? Wouldn't that really be kind of cool?
Please.
We could make her say Art in a way you've never heard before.
Please, if you're on Spotlight, please post that we're still live. A lot of people like to come in late. They think that we are still a 2-hour show. They normally don't come. I mean, it's really amazing. They think we're still a 2-hour show. So let's continue. Okay. So the spanking party, I mean, you had a really huge turnout.
We would typically get between 50 and 70 people show up.
And that's a great event.
Yeah, we were really, really happy with the turnout that we got, because we literally, other than the national parties, there weren't many people that were throwing parties anywhere that I could think of that were getting those numbers that weren't tied to people making spanking videos and people in the industry.
Yeah, you were the very first spanking party that I heard of. In all the years that I've been in BDSM, there's never been a party dedicated just to spanking.
Well, the thing is, there's not a lot of things for spankers to do. And quite frankly, a lot of spanking people were intimidated by the dungeons. So that's why you typically see them, if somebody's going to give a party, it's either at their house or it's in a hotel. And when I started doing them at my house, we started out with 20 people, 25 people. And then we decided we were going to have a cookie contest with the 50s theme. So everybody had to come in 50s gear and people would bring cookies. And that party, we had 35 people in my house. I have a little 2-bedroom house, not a big place.
What about your neighbors?
My neighbors actually were a little wary, but they gave me wide berth because the black guys doing strange things in the community. I'm the only black guy there. But they would walk past my house and you could tell that they could hear noises going through because I have single pane windows. So people could hear whatever was going on. And then we did one, it was a cupcake party.
Yeah, because I saw all the postings.
And the cupcake party, we had 45 people in my house. And
45,
and we had enough cupcakes. There were actually like 3 dozen cupcakes left over, and everybody was still eating cupcakes. So we became known as, not only did we get spanking parties, but they were theme parties. So we did everything. We had a what did we do one night that was really kind of cool? It was Mad Men party. So everybody had to get dressed up, and it was just like I said, if you're going to have a party, give people a reason to come out and have fun.
You're always dressed up. You always look good. I've never seen you not look good.
Well, see, with this face, you have to put a lot of stuff around it to make up for this ain't camera ready. But
well, I think men dressing up brings elegance back.
It does.
BDSM.
And I think that, look, I mean, it's nice to wear jeans. And in California, we wear a lot of jeans and we're a little more relaxed. Growing up, I never wore jeans until I went to college.
Wow.
that
Even
I
on the
always,
on the farm, you didn't have overalls with the.
well, I would go to school. I had to have slacks
Uh-huh.
and a nice shirt. But that was the coolest person I ever. The coolest dresser I knew was my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
and he always dressed really, really well. So I never owned a pair. I never really wore jeans, like out in public, like to school and things like that, until I got to college. That
Wow.
I used to wear. This is like my little claim to fame. When I was in high school, I wore tailored suits. I was spending $200 on suits to go to school in, which was a little unusual for a black kid, and everybody always wondered how you were able to do that.
Pimpin'. No, just
Pimpin'.
joking.
That's not far from the truth. That's not far from the truth. I did a little
Whoa.
bit of that. But
all he needs is a mustache and go like this.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
look
right.
that he gave.
Right. But I think you have to have a sense of style.
Mhm.
And even if you're going to wear jeans and a shirt, make it a nice pair of jeans and a nice shirt. I hate to see people show up and they don't care what they're doing. And women want you to look nice, and guys want you to look nice. So when you get those opportunities to really dress, like Dom Javier is just like a perfect example.
Don Javier.
Because that guy is always turned out.
Mhm.
All right. And there's a reason that he's always with really, really good looking women, because he's always turned out.
He's my best friend, and he calls me every day. That man worries about me more than my family worries about me. But he has brought elegance back into the living.
Exactly. So
And Kane is, oh my God. Last night he looked so fucking hot. If I knew that, I told him, I says, you know what? You're never gonna fuck me. I'm never gonna give you a blowjob because you're gonna make me stick my hands behind my head. You're gonna stick your cock in my mouth. You're gonna put it deep down my throat. I'm gonna end up throwing up, and you're gonna laugh and have a good time, and then come in it. I says, what's the use?
Because it's a dick in your mouth, and and would probably feel good.
For him, not down my throat.
But the great thing about really paying attention to what you do is you have to show you care.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when people see that somebody cares enough to take care of themselves and present themselves well, to me, it's an indicator of how you're going to play.
Yeah.
That a lot of this, and that's why I kind of say that I am a sensual sadist, because I like playing sensually. But if I'm going to play sensually, then it is about the look, and it is about everything else too.
Art Miller says cupcakes in California, gluten-free, I hope.
We had gluten-free cupcakes, as a matter of fact.
Guest 489 is in the chat room. Welcome. See, I told you they all come late.
That's all right.
I should do my shows 2 hours instead of 1 hour.
We don't mind people who come
because
late.
they do come.
We like people to come.
So please in the chat room, please post some questions. And if you are not in the chat room and you're watching the show, please shoot over to TSR Network, go to live shows and click on the player and come in the chat room and say hello, because we would like to hear from you. I know there's a lot of people that are watching that have not popped in here. So maybe, and I guess 489 says hello. So she's going to, whoever that is, the next couple of minutes are going to go, oh, that's live. Oh my God. It's really live.
It is live.
Oh yeah. He's Tommy. Hello. Is that Tommy that I know from England? Is that the same Tommy? If it is, please say yes or no. So if it is, you've been missed, Tommy. It was nice to see you back in chat room. If that's you, it may not be you. So please ask questions, and anyone want us to show some more of the implements and Tommy here. I had made a dream and woke up in England here. Bad dream. It is you. Welcome back, Tommy. It's nice to see you. I'm really glad you're here. And my guest is Spanky. He's going to be teaching at the Lear de Sade this Friday. He's going to be teaching the art of spanking after my S&M open form class. The doors open up at 8. The classes start at 8:30. He goes on at 9:30. And, he can come in and interrupt me and tell me to get my butt off the stage because, sometimes I go over. Please don't let me do that. But he does an amazing class. So if you're in Los Angeles, and for like Justin, you're a vendor. Lots of vendors are coming in and selling stuff that evening on Insight. We have a lot of new people that are coming into the Lear de Sade. But this is great. So what does spanking do to you? We know what it does to the submissive.
What it does to me is it's a connectivity that, and I hear people all the time say, well, it's either all about sex or it's not about sex, and it's not sensual, it's not this. I call bullshit on all of that because it is very sensual to have half-naked woman or a naked woman over your lap. You can just connect with that person. And for me, I'm big on backs and I'm big on, so I love when I have a woman over my lap and I can just explore her body. And that nice round ass.
Okay, pretend this is a butt. This is that's a butt.
This is a butt.
Wait, let's do a higher butt for people can see. Okay, so this is she's over your lap. Okay, so
for me, a lot of it is being able to do different things. So a lot of times, if I'm spanking, I'm usually doing something else with my other hand. So I may be massaging her neck.
No, just
that has happened occasionally. But I'll either be massaging her neck or her hair, or grabbing her hair, doing something. Because what I'm trying to do is create two things. You love hair. I love hair.
No.
But I'm trying, what I'm really trying
I'm
to
Catholic.
she's pretending. But she really asked me to really, she told me, don't bring your demo bottom tonight. I'll be your demo bottom.
Oh, no, I didn't know. We were supposed to have a demo bottom tonight.
Unfortunately, she got sick. But
so we got a pillow.
Right. We have a pillow. Not quite the same.
Maybe I should go get some light material so it looks like a butt.
You know, there's actually
a spanking?
There's actually, because you can buy a prosthetic butt and it actually replicates somebody's ass. So you can practice on that. But I try to create like a duality of senses. So I want the mind to try and figure out what I'm going to concentrate on. So am I going to concentrate on this really nice thing he's doing to me? Or am I going to concentrate on the fact that he is slapping my ass? But if I move from that where I'll just caress a butt, then I'll be doing some impact play on their back, or I'll be using a Wartenberg wheel, or I'll be doing something different.
Because to the people that are brand new that are watching this, what is a Wartenberg?
A Wartenberg wheel is like, you know, you go to the doctor's office and he has that deal that he runs over you and says, can you feel that? It's a little wheel. It has little spikes on it. And it is really cool. And I like the ones they have ones that are like 7 wheels on it. That's really kind of cool to use. But again, all I'm really trying to do is I'm just trying to create, I like the feel of my hand and skin on skin. But I'm trying to, what I'm getting from it is I'm just getting that connectivity and that energy. Because the energy of just the touch is the coolest thing in the world. So it's about an energy exchange. And I'm feeling as much as they're doing because my impact of my hand is just the impact that they're getting. So however I'm using it, I'm feeling the same sensation they're doing. If it's stingy on them, it's stingy on me. If it's slutty on them, it's slutty on me. And so, I mean, I just get that whole mental thing going. And for me, I tell people all the time, if the object is sex at the end of it, the sex is anticlimactic because everything that I'm getting from that energy exchange has already brought me where I need to go. And the other night I actually got to top space with the lady that I was playing with, who actually went into subspace, and we were kind of there at the same time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Which is, it's just like the best thing, because when both of you are just kind of floaty, but you know each other enough to know where you're at, that when that's happening, nothing else matters. Because I'm not a big public player. I like to play in private. But at that particular time, when you're really in that space, nothing else matters, and there can be 100 people around you, and you're just so connected with that person that it is really about the energy exchange between the two people that makes it work for me.
In the chat room, Art Miller says "lucky pillow."
Yeah.
and Tommy says, "Hello." He says, "Can't make it to the lyric." Well, you're in England. We know the reason why. He says, "Mel, we have something in common. I got diagnosed as dyslexic." Yeah, welcome to my world. And then Tommy says, "Pull the hair." Does he like to pull hair?
I love to pull hair.
Or pull hard?
Yes.
He says, "Spank Mel." He goes, not the plastic. If we would have gotten all 200 people in this chat room, we would have done it. But you know what? We're not.
This is
Thank
what
God we're not
Spencer
getting-
Paddle. This is what she was going to
Big
get.
black motherfucker,
That's
right
right.
here. This
That's
big black
In
motherfucker.
fact, I may name this now the Big Black Motherfucker
I think it needs to be the big black motherfucker.
because we may just call it that from now on.
Art Miller says, I like the sense of the dance behind the energy space.
It is.
Cool stuff. Yeah, it is. It is an amazing process to go.
And I tell people all the time that sometimes if I'm really into it, I will dance a little bit while I'm back there playing. If I have them, if they're bent over or they're on a cross, I do kind of dance because I like music when I'm playing. So I like the rhythm of it. And
Does the music set the mood?
the music, yeah, the music really kind of like, it gives you places to go. So it gives you different rhythms and different patterns that you can get. And it's really nice. And that's why when I started really doing impact play, so I'm using both hands. And it's almost like, it's like a drummer. It's like a conga player that you can just find those rhythms. And it really kind of works at that when you have a good song behind you and you're just kind of like, I was actually using somebody and they said, are you using just the edge of your hands? And I go, yeah, just the edge of my hands. And you find that rhythm where you're just kind of like in that zone. And when the music changes, then you find another place to go. So it makes it interesting because it's not the same thing. That without the music, it's just a beat. And it's just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. If I have music and it changes, it goes from something slow to something really, really fast. Or if it's something playful like Booty Booty, like J-Lo.
I
love that song.
I wonder what it would be like to spank to Nina Simone.
I do.
God, I mean, I was listening to her today, and that rich, pure, absolutely sultry voice.
Yeah. When you find something that is nice and slow and sensual, you go there. And you will find this. I like to talk to people about, there are certain areas that you can go, particularly if you're spanking a woman and you're just right where, what we call the sweet spot, but it's right at the base of the bottom. So right by her pussy. That no sound. That is just the impact and no sound. But what they're getting is they're getting the vibrations from what you're doing, and you don't have to be going hard, but you can find that nice rhythm. So that's why I like to get, if I find that really kind of slow, intimate beat, then you can get more sensual with it.
Yeah.
And like I said, because I like to play for a long time, I want to go through my whole bag. If you don't have something that moves it along, so if you don't have that change of pace, you don't get that.
Yeah.
But I like the music and I like the rhythm. And it was another little funny story. So I'm playing with this girl and we're really having a good time. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm really going to get really cool. I'm going to just whisper. And I made up this whole poem just on the spot about make me sweat. And it was just like this whole thing. I was completely making it up. And so when we got done playing, I was going, so what do you think about that poem I made up? She goes, I was so inspired. I didn't know what you were saying. I heard words. I was just like gone. And I'm thinking, damn. But the bottom line, but the fact, but the bottom line is that intimacy that we developed and the rhythm that we had actually made me kind of like, okay, I want to do this. I want to say these things in her ear and make her do some things. It was nice to
in the chat room, Tommy says, I like barehanded, which is awesome. And Art Miller said sweet spot. Yeah. I think you got me on that one.
I love that.
Yeah.
The thing is that.
So where's the sweet spot to you?
Okay, there's actually two places on a woman.
See, we're going to talk about.
There's actually a couple of places.
You want another pillow? You want the pillow?
No,
back?
it's okay because I can. On the small of the back, just right at the top of the hips. Okay. That if you're spanking in that area, the vibrations go right to the vagina.
The vagina?
Yeah, goes to the vajayjay. So the vibrations from that go right there.
Yeah.
The other spot is right at the curve of the bottom, right in between. So what you're hitting is right at the bottom, but it's right where the thigh and the bottom come together. So that's what vagina's at. And if you have somebody and you're spanking them there, again, the vibrations are going right there. So those are what I consider the sweet spots. Because movement, when I try to create the movement, because for me, two compliments a woman can pay me. One is I want to do that again. And the second is that they come.
It should be three more.
Well, yeah, the more is the other part of it. But those two things, if I can get that to happen, I've had a really good experience without having to fuck them without having to put my fingers inside them, that a lot of the vibrations, a lot of things you're creating are right around that area. And since I play with a lot of people who are either partnered or also married, you want to be cautious.
So you don't have sex with everyone you play with?
No.
And for the people that have joined us late, how many women have you spanked again? Let's share that.
Well, okay, it hasn't been, I've given 9,700, but it hasn't been 9,700 different women.
But that's okay.
But that's okay. That's okay.
And he wants to make me.
She needs to be 9,701.
Well, why not be 10,000? Maybe I could do 10,000.
Okay, so that's the deal. You guys just heard it here. That what Mel has said is that she will be 10,000.
No, I didn't.
I think that's really great.
I
think that we have that. And you know what? Because it'll be on the archives, it'll be there forever. She can't beg off of it.
No. Art Miller said, nice. You are my hero.
Well, thank you. But like I said, I think this is all, it's very sensual and it's very fun. And I like the aspect that it can be very, very personal. But the biggest thing that I want to get to is I want to have that energy exchange and just know that this is something that will be very, very connective for you. And every time you play, it can be different, but it can still be that same thing.
Tommy brought up an interesting question, or he said a comment, and let's talk about this.
Okay.
He says it shows that women like to be spanked or need to be. Do you find that more women like to receive than men?
No, I think it's kind of pretty even.
Is it even?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people like myself. I'm a switch. Depending on what my mood is or what's going on.
Maybe I should spank him.
I will take one if she takes one. That's the deal. But I find that it's really kind of even now, that a lot of people are define themselves as switches, or a lot of people who find themselves as primal, like to kind of go both ways.
Yeah, we didn't. When I first started in the lifestyle, nobody would even claim that they were a switch. Now they're coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, and it used to be very hard for a man to say that he was a switch, because people got a different idea. If you were a switch or something, you must be soft.
That's the key, is to have a switch party after the TSR.
That's
the key.
Yeah, I think that switches, people who switch, understand what it's like on both sides. So, and I don't say that it's best to be a switch or whatever, but we have a different idea of what's going on. Now, really good top who doesn't switch also knows that too, because if you've done your work and you're really watching what's going on with your person, you know what's going on with them. But in my head, when I'm playing with someone, I know what they're going through if I'm using a paddle or I'm using this, or if it's gotten really intense or really sensual. I know because I go through those same things.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to kind of watch my bottom and kind of feel what's going on. And to have somebody say, you know when to back off and you know when to push, that comes from experience of knowing what it's like.
Yes.
So being able to bring somebody and play that dance with somebody, I have a friend and we do a whole thing with orgasm denial. So I want to take her right to the point and then back and do something that completely takes her mind away from the orgasm. I'm not going to let you do that. That's a really cool thing. Just knowing that you can do that is like the coolest thing in the world.
A lot of people don't know how to do orgasm denial. But before we go into that, a couple statements in the chat room. Art Miller talking about the amount of women that you've spanked, and your goal says everybody needs a goal to inspire.
That's right.
And Art Miller says take one for the team, Mel.
See, I've been saying it all night.
And yes, Tommy says, I thought Mel went switchy. No, I didn't. Because I bottom once, it doesn't make me a switch. Art says, provides a better appreciation for a switch. Has me thinking there is a technique has me thinking, is there a technique not to leave marks?
Yes.
And what is that?
I've spanked with virtually everything that I have in my bag and had people walk away red and not be marked the next day. And it just depends on how you use something. If you really, for instance, a paddle, people understand that things that are heavy have their own weight. So if you let them just do their job, they will turn a bottom red. And once I start to see the color, then I switch to something else.
Oh.
All right. But the other thing is also by rubbing, you're bringing the blood back to the skin, and you're kind of massaging it and everything else. So you're minimizing the amount of bruising that will happen later on. But the other thing that I always tell people too, if they know that you're going to play, if you're going to a party, hydrate, drink a lot of water, but also a little bit of lotion to make sure that the skin is nice and supple will also work too. But I love it when people go, I wasn't marked when I got done playing with you. Because particularly if I'm playing with somebody, I have a friend that I play with and she makes spanking videos. So when she plays, she can't be marked because she's got to go into that shoot pristine, right? So I just want you, when you walk away, you'll know you've been spanked because we'll make sure the bottom is nice and red, but we're not going to leave bruises and we're not going to leave marks. And there are also certain toys that I know that absolutely will leave and I won't play with those. But if I don't want to have somebody really marked up, then I just use my hands. All right. But I can also leave great bruises and great marks with just my hands, depending on what I'm doing. But that's also why things like cupping come into play. All right. Because the cupping is just giving you the auditory that you need. So you like that noise. And it's not creating anything because all of it's going inside. So you're getting all of the air is going in there. So what you're getting is you're getting the noise, a little bit of sting. And that's the other great thing about the hand is that if you're doing it in certain different ways, they'll get the thud of your palm and the sting of your fingers, which is, again, a nice little dual thing that somebody can experience.
In the chat room, Tommy says, Mel didn't just bottom, she subbed. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. So I have two questions that are going on in my head. Okay. And I'd like to ask him both of these questions. And so, one of the questions, I'm going to go and tell you both of them. Okay. One of the questions is, do you find that when you've played with somebody for a long time, that you've established a relationship, that they bruise less? And the second question is this: how do you build up? How do you start a spanking play? And do you just paddle away? And what do you do to get that person into that place where they can take more?
Well, yes, there are people that's like, as a matter of fact, I was reading an article today about it, and they were destroying the myths of spanking and all of this.
Destroying the myth of spanking?
The myths of all the things that people think about spanking being, whether it's brutal or whether it's about sex or all these things. But one of the things that they talked about is the fact that you can do damage to the nerves. And if
your butt?
Yes. That if you are, and it's called in the spanking community, we call it leather butt, because you are doing a lot. And if you're playing a hard player, consistently hard player, you get to that point where the bottom just is now conditioned. It can take a lot. And you hear that common thing overall where people go, I don't mark anymore.
Yeah.
I don't get anything anymore.
See, and
because you are conditioning the skin and the body and the muscles and everything else to whatever that impact is doing.
I thought it was created by a trust issue, that once you play with somebody, you start to trust them and you relax more and you don't tense up as much.
No, well, the thing is, the more you tense, and I always like get people to just relax, take breaths, because the more you tense, the more it hurts. But it really is over a period of time. It just doesn't happen. You don't have the same sensations and everything else going on. To the second question, you have to warm up. That's why I think of, and you probably heard me say this in the class, I look at spanking like I'm going to have sex with somebody. Foreplay is a warm-up. You don't start hard. You don't just start jamming your cock in somebody. You want to create a little bit of energy, and you want to get into the headspace because that's really where it's at. So you start off light. And typically, if I'm going to play with somebody, and this will happen to people I know and I've got time to do it, I'll try to use whatever implements I'm going to use a lot over their clothed bottom before I move on. Because that way they have an idea of what that's going to feel like.
Yeah.
All right. And it's not painful and it's starting out slow. But the other thing that's allowing me to do is get connected with that person. And I can start to read movements, their body movements and things like that, so that later on, as we get going, I know what's happening. But the warm is really important. So I treat the warm up like foreplay. So I'm finding out about you. I may almost give you a massage before I start and kind of really get into feeling your body, because different parts of the bodies are going to feel different at different times. You can tell that if somebody's really tense and they're carrying their shoulders.
Or you can tell if somebody doesn't really want you to touch
them.
And the way that they react to your touch.
And I tell people all the time, it's just like if you want to kiss somebody, you know it right away. And you know the first time you kiss them if you want them to kiss you again. or even somebody holding your hand. You know somebody's hand you want to hold, like you want them to stay there, and you know that you don't. I've had people that I thought on balance would be really, really good to play with, but the minute they went on my lap in the first touch, I knew this wasn't going to be a really, really great experience. It wasn't going to be bad, but it wasn't going to be great.
Did you ever have a really bad experience that went really bad?
Yes.
What was that? You don't have to name names.
No, I was playing with somebody, and we had both been dancing around the whole idea of playing with each other, and it was just like, that's my fantasy person to play with. But the attitude was terrible, and the energy just wasn't happening. So, listen, I couldn't get her off my lap fast enough, and she couldn't get up fast enough. It was the worst time that I'd ever had with anybody.
Wow.
And the thing is, I knew before we started to play, just from actually getting a chance to talk and getting a chance to go, no, it's not a person I really am going to enjoy. I should not have played with her, but I did because we had spent so much time trying to figure out how we were going to ever play together. And it really wasn't good.
With us, that's what we want.
Yeah, it really wasn't good. So it's just like we've all had bad sexual experiences because sometimes, it just ain't working. And there are times where somebody that you've had a really good time with before and you go, that was a miss.
Have you ever played with somebody and they took off their clothes and their fragrance was not the most pleasant fragrance in the world? Yeah. I mean, that's really hard.
Yeah, it is. So I always, and for guys, I tell guys, you know what, if you want to play with somebody and you want them to spank you, you're going to be there, wash your scrotum, wash everywhere, guys. Make sure you're clean. But yeah, there are times where you go, whoa, that's not a pleasant deal. Yeah. I want to smell that around.
I've had that happen in scenes where I'm spanking them and I get this woof and I'm like, and I don't want to go back there. No. And then I avoid the area.
But that's another thing, like when we're having parties and theme parties, people get dressed up and go, so I'm going to take a bath before I go. Please take a bath before you go play. Just remember, it's the little things. Put on some deodorant. But the only thing that I won't do is I won't wear perfume. I won't wear like cologne or anything like I did
tonight.
I don't wear it if I'm going to play because you don't know if you're going to get that close to somebody. They may be allergic to something and they may not. It may not work. So I like the pheromones.
Tommy wants to know, is Spanky familiar with the Spencer spanking plan?
Yes. The Spencer spanking plan, way back in the 40s and the 50s, there was a couple, and they wrote the manifesto for domestic discipline.
Uh-huh.
And it was purely from the male side of it. But there was also some for female-led relationships too. But it was really a guide for a marriage, and very little to do, I think, with just the spanking thing. It was about really how to have a successful marriage, and discipline was part of it. And it was really kind of good because that's where the Spencer paddle got its name. That's where it was.
So that's a Spencer paddle.
That's a Spencer paddle.
That's a
paddle with holes in it.
That is a big black motherfucker.
Yeah. And it's going to be that name from now on. I'm going to take a picture of it.
Spencer, the big black motherfucker.
I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to put it on my page and I'm going to call it now the big black motherfucker. But the Spencer spanking plan was really just a marriage guide.
Wow.
And a lot of people found their way to spanking and found their way to domestic discipline households or head of household relationships because of it.
So that's where, Lucy, you're going to get a spanking.
Exactly.
I mean, I think every woman drooled when
that happened. When you think about it, in the 50s and 60s TV shows, there was a lot of spanking going on.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. I used to watch Iowa List just because I wanted to see when he was going to spank her. So I mean, it was really good.
Yeah, spanking.
Yeah.
How did you get your name, Spanky?
Well, because I needed a name for FedLife. It's just like, and it started out, it was just Spanky. And then somebody came up with the name Spanky, you know what I mean? And actually, the couple Blue Meets Blue, who now runs the Hollywood Spanking Group, Charles, part of that group, and Naughty, I will give you guys a shout out if you're watching tonight or you're not watching tonight, but they really came up with the name Spanky, you know what I mean? And I used that up until like last month I changed it because it's just a lot to say and it was kind of.
You have Spanky underscore now.
Right.
Is it Spanky?
Yeah.
Someone has Spanky.
Yeah.
So, Tommy says the wife could spank the husband too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And part of that in the Spencer spanking plan for the female-led households, the rules applied both ways. Yeah. So yes, and women can be. I've been in relationships where the women were running the deal. So
Yeah. So that he got a spanking.
yes,
Yeah, and he enjoyed it.
not those. Because those are not fun.
Your mother.
There's a difference between getting a discipline spanking and just getting a spanking.
Yeah.
That can be really intense.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the mind works, because I've had people who have disciplined me, and I've disciplined people, and I've spanked people much harder playing than spanking during discipline, because it's a different mindset. And I remember I was mentoring a young lady, and the best discipline session we had, I never touched her. She was over my lap, and she was bare and ready for the spanking. I had a hairbrush. I set it right in the middle of her back. And then I just leaned over and I whispered everything she had done to get herself in that position, and how all the trigger points for her, like why she felt she needed discipline and all of those things. And she never cried harder, never had a bigger release than that, and I never touched her.
So tell me why I need to be disciplined. Let's see if we can. Let's see. What?
Well, Mel, the reason that you need to be disciplined is because you invited me over here and you said you would take a spanking, and you offered to stand in for my demo bottom, and all you've been doing is teasing. So I think just for that.
No, it's amazing. We've been talking for an hour and 30-some minutes, which has been fabulous, all about spanking. Who would have known that we could have a conversation about spanking? We could probably go on all night long because there's so many elements. So what is the most bizarre spanking scene that you've ever seen?
That I've ever seen.
You ever seen? Yeah. Yeah, no names. We don't want to call you guys out.
The most bizarre was at a party, and this was in Ohio, of all places. And I don't know what this contraption was, because I'm still trying to figure out, and this was like 20 years ago, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell this was. But literally, the lady's legs were like this, and her arms were back like this. And I don't know what this guy was using on her. I've never seen anything or else doing it, but it was made out of hay.
Hay?
Hay. And it was like he was killing her. But here was the thing. He was a hypnotist.
Okay.
And he had hypnotized her to think that he was beating her with barbed wire. And I was like, wow.
Awesome.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
But the thing that he had her on, I could never figure out, because it had her stretched out in ways I'd just never seen before.
Wow.
So it's like, that was probably the strangest thing.
Wow. When I worked at KSEX, we did radio show. We did radio show for KSEX, and then we had the very last. We did KSEX. No, it went to another show, which it's still they don't do the broadcasting anymore. Very few people. We've been longer than anybody, except for Susan Block, but we don't even talk about her. So they had a bench, and they had a thing where you put it on power and it spanks.
Yes,
and it was accurate, but it only hits in one place.
By the way, speaking of that, so there is a guy. His name is Boy Scout for You. He's part of the Hollywood Spanking Group, and he made a spanking machine.
Oh wow!
A working spanking machine.
I need to interview him.
He's like a tinkerer. He can come up with all. He makes great paddles, by the way.
I need to interview him.
But he made a spanking machine. That was absolutely amazing.
Boy Scout for You?
Boy Scout for You.
I'm going to look him up. I hope I don't forget it. But
he's a really cool guy.
It would be great for him to bring it, for you could show it to us.
Yeah, you should have him show that to you.
And then I'll get on it, and then
So now we have two things with Mel. She's going to be my 10,000, and she's going to get on the spanking machine. So Boy Scout for You. I have your next victim.
Art Miller says that's a mind trip. Nice. Can always count on people from Ohio to bring it.
You know what? It's the funniest thing. It's like the places that you think there's not going to be anything there. Ohio, a lot of dom. There are more doms, female tops, per capita. I swear, in Ohio than anywhere else.
Female doms?
Female tops.
Wow. Well, Detroit has an awesome scene.
Detroit has a nice
And I'll tell you, I don't know what, I'm going to take a road trip. Maybe you want to take a road trip with me. I'm going to be taking a road trip across the country, and I'm so excited about doing it. I'm going to spend some time in just 30 miles out of Houston, Texas. And we're going
Texas has a nice scene.
They have an awesome scene.
Yeah.
They're building a BDSM town.
Oh, really?
And they're looking for people to come and live there and teach there. I mean, and to be out in the wilderness.
Yeah, there's a lot of places, and there's really no place I've been fortunate enough to travel all over, the world, and there's not a place that I've been that I couldn't find people to spend. I was in South Africa, which really weirded me out a little bit, but I was in South Africa and actually got to play. So anywhere, I mean, there are people doing what we do all over the world, and the great thing about the internet is we can find them.
Yeah.
Whereas you couldn't before.
Yeah, my first submissive that I owned for 5 years, I found him on the internet. He lived in Ohio. He moved out here to be with me.
There we go.
He wanted to reinvent himself. Boy, did he reinvent himself. Thank you.
There you go.
But I would have never started TSR Network if it wasn't for him, because we had the Mel and Phil show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all audio. We had to edit it and everything else. And then when he left, I was doing another audio show. Right. And then when I went on, KSEX, and then over to that other place, can't even remember the name of it now. And I had a huge show there called, I don't even remember what the name of it, but I hated it. It was bells and whistles, right. Light things would go off, and and it was all porn stars. And I don't have anything in common with porn stars. I love you guys, but you know what? Stop the drinking. Stop the drugs.
Drugs and all this stuff doesn't go together.
No, it doesn't. And playing, do you ever drink when you play?
I don't drink and I don't smoke. I don't do any vices anymore.
Yeah, so you don't, and that's the best way to be.
Yeah, I think that it's really a hard mix. I mean, there are parties where people have alcohol and everything, mm-hmm. and for people who can control it, it's good. And you do it in moderation, it's okay. But from my parties were always dry parties. So no drugs, no alcohol, because I wanted people, and because we had so many new people, I just want people to feel safe. If they came to the party, they knew people were going to be safe, sane, sober, mm-hmm. The whole shot.
Safe, sane, and consensual.
Exactly.
Tommy in the chat room, maybe you could share a little bit of light on this. He says, I can't get playing with someone unless one is intimate with them. So he doesn't like to play with anyone that he's not intimate right. with. And so how do you feel about that?
I won't play really sensual with somebody I don't know. Mm-hmm. But because parties, most of the party spankings and things I already play are really kind of fun, which is a difference that I saw with going to like the BDSM parties, where I would go and I would see such intense scenes, and you can't do those unless you know somebody really well, yeah. Because some of the scenes I see, particularly when you're talking about edge play and breath play and things like that, you really need to know that person has to trust you a lot. Yeah. But it's the same in spanking and everything else. If I'm going to play with somebody really, really sensually, yeah, I have to have a connection with them to really go to those places.
Yeah.
In fact, the lady who was going to be my demo bottom, I love her to death. She's the greatest little girl in the world. And we don't play a lot because when I play with her, I keep thinking like I'm spanking my daughter. I don't want to. But she's she is gorgeous. She has the greatest little butt. But my energy with her is more paternal than it is anything else.
Yeah.
So if I'm really going to play and have a real sensual time, I want to have that intimacy with that person.
Who is the person that you got closest to in your life in spanking? Was there one special person that just was every single trigger that you've ever imagined?
Yes. There've been a couple people that have kind of had that thing where it's just like, every time that you play with that person, this is going to be good and it's going to be different because your mind is going to take you to a different place because your energy feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
The lady that I most recently played with, I actually call her, she's my muse. When I'm going to play with her, I'm thinking of something
This is
different.
Your demo?
No.
This is someone else?
Somebody else. She's actually going to be my demo bottom. She was my demo bottom at the last class.
Yeah.
And she's going to be my demo bottom on Friday. But she's my muse. When I'm playing with her, I'm thinking before I know, because it's usually we know like a week or so in advance we're going to play. So I'm thinking of new things to do, and I'm thinking about, and so that creates a different energy. But there have been a couple of people that just take me to a different place, and they trust me to take them to different places. And that is a really, really key. The trust that you have with someone makes the play a lot different. And sometimes what I think that people don't understand is that you can build that trust even with somebody you don't know,
and
that intimacy with somebody you know, based on how you start. So if you haven't had a conversation with that person, if you haven't done any type of you haven't made any attempt to know at least one or two things about that person, you can't develop that trust.
Do you have to negotiate the same way that you could negotiate in a BDSM scene with spanking?
Speaking of negotiations, I never negotiated until I started playing with BDSM people.
Oh, that's an education.
Because with spanking, you go, I know how to do this. It's my hand, your butt. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, so you never thought about all the other things because that's all it is. And even if you're using a hairbrush or you're using a wooden spoon, it's just like, oh, it's spanking. How much can I do? And then I started playing with BDSM people. And they negotiate because it's just like, no, we're going to talk about this. But then other things came into play, like somebody on painkillers, somebody's bad back, or they had bad neck, or they had a little accident, or they had something. So now I do negotiate. If I'm playing, it's not as drawn out. Like there's not this big laundry list that I try to go through. But I at least want to know something. You had a good day today? Nah.
Or where can I touch you?
Right.
Can I touch
your
pussy? Can I touch your nipples?
If I'm playing with somebody and I know that they are in a relationship, very often I will try and talk to the husband or their partner to find out what are your limits. Because I know what she's going to tell me her limits are. I want to know what your limits are. Because I don't want to overstep. Because I want to send that person back to you the same way you trusted me to send them back to you.
Bourbon has just walked into the chat room. Thank you for coming. It's nice to see you again. So, see, I told you, people. I mean,
it's okay.
I probably missed so many people watching the shows because we end at an hour early. You know, so yeah. It's really important to negotiate. You also have to find out if there's any medicine that they're on.
Right.
You have to find out if they have asthma.
Right.
If you do break skin, if they have any blood diseases that you need to know about.
And you want to know what to do with those things. Because like I said, the more things that I use that can do more damage, I need to find out. Because if somebody's on blood thinners, if you break skin, that person's going to bleed a little more.
Oh, yeah.
You want to know what to do with that.
I think at the Lear one time, many, many moons ago, probably about 14 years ago, somebody didn't know that somebody was a bleeder and they were rushing to emergency.
Yeah. So, those little things, it's a little piece of information.
Yeah.
It's like I was playing this weekend and I had vampire gloves, and for some reason she had played the night before and she was really sensitive to vampire gloves. She likes them, but she was just really sensitive.
Yeah.
Well, for me, because I'm a sensual sadist, so if you tell me that that's not feeling real great, but you don't use a safe word and you don't tell me to stop, I will keep going with that.
So do you always have a safe word?
You should have a safe word.
When you were doing regular spankings without being in BDSM at that time, did you have a safe word? Okay.
Because you have to know that.
She goes, hi, Spanky.
Hey. who is that? Is that Jessica? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is that safe words are really good, because if I don't know you, I want you to tell me. And if I haven't played with you before, I don't know your tells. I don't know what your body movements mean. And the natural thing is, in spanking, everybody says, stop. Ow, that hurts. But that doesn't mean that they don't like it, and it doesn't mean that they don't want you to keep going. But a safe word tells you, if it's yellow, slow the hell down. And if they use red, for me, red will end the scene.
Yes.
It ends it, that's it. You use red, we're done.
Yeah, nobody really goes green. They go yellow or red.
Yeah. And some people use different words like kumquat or something because they can't think of anything, but I can think of kumquat. I don't know how that happened. Because if I'm in subspace, I ain't thinking about any other words except the words I know I use all the time. But
if you're going to play in a dungeon, always use the safe word of the dungeon.
Right. And the other thing too is that I've talked to people who like play with rope, and they may have a hand signal.
Yeah.
Or if you're like taping somebody's mouth, they can't talk. there needs to be a hand symbol or a tap or something that they can give you to let you know that either they're in trouble or something's going on.
I played with a couple of people that were deaf, so I gave them a scarf, and I told them what to do with it. But in the chat room, Art Miller has a question.
Okay.
He goes, "What is vampire gloves?"
Vampire gloves.
Ooh.
And I didn't bring them with me. But vampire gloves are simply a leather glove that has little spikes in it.
On the palm
On
part.
the palm.
Yeah.
And the fingers. So when you hit with that, it leaves a nice imprint, which is really kind of cool. And it's a different feeling because depending on the quality of the vampire gloves, that little spike really kind of gets in there. And you have to be careful with them because you can break skin really quickly with those.
And you don't want to go like this with them and scratch them because that's when you'll start to get some breakage of the skin. Right. Unless the submissive and you have decided that's what you want to do.
Which is also the reason why I tell people to hydrate and use a little bit of lotion on your body because that will keep those things from happening.
Birdworm says, Spanky is hands down one of the best responsible tops in the scene. Well, I still think very fondly of our first scene. Smiling Birdie.
Oh, okay. You asked me about what was my worst toy, my biggest mindfuck toy. Uh-huh. That's who has it.
Oh, Birdie, you have it.
Birdie, thank you. I'm glad you're here. That makes me feel so much better. I can talk a lot for you now. Thank you. And as a matter of fact, Birdie, I will tell you, the first time that she really kind of played open was with me, and we had a 2-hour session just spanking. And I think at the time she thought that was a long time. She is one of now the hardest players I know. She will go to places that I've watched her go now and go, I can't even play with you anymore because I just don't play on that level.
Yeah.
And she was also the first person that I saw do hook suspension. So I thank you, Birdie, for giving me that opportunity because that was really kind of cool to see.
And next year I want to go to Southwest and do that whole hook thing. Yeah. I really want to go there.
I watched that happening, and to watch the intimacy between her Dom and Mrs. Melissa and another good friend of ours, Hex, to watch the intimacy because they were the ones doing it, to watch intimacy between those people was like the coolest thing in the world to see.
She goes, yay, love you, smile. And Mr. Goodyear, smile.
And I know he's getting a lot of good use because he's with you.
So, and we're just going to go until 10. So we've got only a few more minutes. So please get your burning questions in here really quickly so we can get them to our wonderful guest. So how can people get a hold of you?
I'm on FedLife, and you can find me as Spanky _. I also have a group called the Diversity Roundtable, so you can find me there. And I have a blog.
I got to join that group.
Yeah, we're really having a good time with it. And I also have a blog called Spanky Spank Joint. It's on Blogspot. So that's how you can find me.
Wonderful. And what's coming up for you?
Well, the next thing I have the spanking class this Friday.
Called the Art of Spanking.
Called the Art of Spanking. And this one's because it's Valentine's Day. It's going to be really about sensual spanking. So it's really going to be about how to really use your hands effectively, and maybe a couple other things. But
do you have feathers?
I don't have feathers.
I will give you a feather tonight, and then it's red, and you can kind of just go like this, and
feathers are really good.
I'll give you a little feather tonight.
Okay,
I've got one. You can have it. So
I have that coming up, and then we have the Diversity Roundtable. Our next meeting is in March, and you can find us there.
Birdie says, Spanky, you're going to make me cry. So many of us in the LA scene you have to thank for integrating so safely.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Any regrets? Spanking, not
that
I didn't
get that I'm not spanking Mel tonight. That's a regret. I really don't. I think. Well, I take that back. I have one, and I will say this publicly, and hopefully it'll get back. But you remember the last time that we were on that the young lady who was with me lost and found one.
Yeah,
absolutely. She was a doll, and
she's not free. She's not attached anymore.
And well, we only had a mentor relationship. That was really it. She was like, I loved her. Our birthdays are the same day. and we kind of lost that connection. But she is doing it. I would tell for people, if you know people that are new getting into the scene, she has a class that she's doing at Sanctuary called BDSM 101. It's a really great class. She knows a lot about what she's doing. That I think the fact that we have lost our connection is from.
Oh, well, she's been coming to Insights, so she'll be there probably on Friday, because she's been coming to my class.
Okay.
So she's, I've been joking with her when I found out she was in the chat room on last Tuesday, and then I told her, I says, I'm going to spank you.
There you go. Well, you know what? We had so much fun when we did.
And she's got great energy,
because she does. She has great energy. She's beautiful, and she is just the most witty person in the world. So yeah, I mean, she's really good. If you get a chance, go to her class.
Yeah, it's Sanctuary. We are so fortunate in California. We have beginning classes at Sanctuary. We have beginning classes at Threshold. We have the classes that I've been teaching for the last 12 years, because we were the very first one to do these. We teach an S&M open form class, and there's other places that teach these classes also. It's really important, especially with 50 Shades of Grey.
Right, with that coming out, I think. Yeah, and people, trust me, they are going to be coming. The looky-loos are going to be coming, and all the other stuff. So get prepared for it. But for the people that are really serious, that are going to come out of that movie, and that are come here from the books, that are coming with real honest intentions, we really have a right to protect what the scene is really all about, and to teach them the reality away from the fantasy that they've been reading about, and that they're going to see in this movie.
Well, they're going to come in curious. Some will leave, and some will be our future leaders. So we have to really, really nurture them and really educate them. The more places where they can go for education,
the better.
Yeah, and all the archive shows from TSR Network, it's all about education. It's really important that we keep going. So we only got a couple minutes, so I'm going to seize the opportunity. First of all, I want to thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for having me. This is like really.
It's like being in our living room.
It is, and this is really hard for me because I'm not like a real public gregarious person. So for me to be doing this is I only do this for this lady. So
well, I'm really glad that you're here live with me instead of, we had to do it on video, because when I lost my studio, he was on Skype and I was on Google Plus, and it was a disaster. But we had a great conversation. It was a lot of fun. But this way, we get to do have better quality of audio and sound. I mean, audio and video. So I'm really pleased with this show. But I want to thank you so much. And I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take this one.
And by take it, she means that she's going to have them used on her.
Okay, no, and this one is my favorite. This one I can put in my purse. So this is. But I want to tackle something. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's been in the chat room. And for the people that have... Hey, Art Miller says, agree, assuring that this is not all about fantasy, doing it right. Yes, I agree with you. 100% Art Miller. So some things are happening, which I'm really, really pleased about. The first Sunday of each month at the Lear de Sade, Kane has given me the day every single month, the first Sunday of each month. It's going to start on March 8th. We're going to be doing fundraisers for TSR. And how we're going to be doing fundraisers is this. We're going to start out, I'm going to be teaching a class about how to be a presenter, how to teach, classes. And it will be a very intensive course. It will be the beginning of it. It will be called the introduction course, and then we'll go into the intermediate, and then we'll go into the advanced class. And if you have this desire to be a public speaker in BDSM, to change the world, to talk about the topics that you love to talk about, to teach and educate, this might be a really good class for you to go to. I've been public speaking for the last 12 years. At the Lear de Sade. We've been doing the shows for 12 years. So I teach an awesome class. I will mesmerize you, and I will teach you techniques and things that you need to learn about how to present it to a class, how to work on your body language, talk about your topics, how to articulate, bullet points on how to, instead of having a big long list of things that you just read, teaching you how to work with bullet points, and also doing lots of improv and getting out of your head where you can enjoy this also. So we're going to be doing that, and I'm very excited about it. And I think that he just gave me an idea about doing a switch party afterwards to raise some more fundings. So this all goes to TSR to keep it going, and it'll be the TSR day at the Lear Assad. So I'm really excited about it. And one of the reasons why is because I don't have an assistant that is going to be turning my show off. So in a couple minutes, and when I get done, I'm going to get up. My guest will still be here. And I got to make sure that he doesn't hit me with that black paddle. We did not negotiate that. We did not negotiate that. We did not negotiate that. And then I will end the show. But I want to thank you all for watching. This has been a wonderful experience. Please tell your friends about the fundraisers the first Sunday of each month, so that you can come and attend and support something, support free live education shows that we provide. And I'll tell you something, we have had over 800,000 people watch our show since we relaunched back in March. And before we closed the studio, the huge studio that we had 4 million people that have watched our shows. And we believe in education, we believe in safety and getting out the correct information. So with all this thing with 50 Shades of Grey, please tell all your vanilla friends to go to TSR Network, watch the shows to get educated. And at TSR Network, we are changing the world one vanilla at a time. Thank you, guys. I'm going to be right back. He's going to see me get up. I'm going to, no. I'm going to put this.
Come on, Mel.
No.
You promised.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
I need a board guy. Okay.